Hello, Starshine. My name is Liz and this is my channel, Simsational Stories. If you have not seen my videos before and you enjoy this one, please like and subscribe, and maybe check out my other social media as well. I'm on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. All relevant links are in the description below. Finally, before I begin my Simsational story, I'd like to issue this blanket content and trigger warning. The following story is just Sims, hey. I'm not going to apologise for treating them terribly, if that's what I've done. But I do want to assure you now that although I mean absolutely no harm, I completely understand if you feel unable to consume my content. Many loves, and we will catch each other on the internet elsewhere. Okay, so now I've gotten that over with. Let's go. Today's story is from The Ascension of Anastasia, and we're at chapter 10. If you have not seen previous chapters and would like to catch up, there are playlists available on my channel so you can hear the entire story in chronological order. The rest of us are going to move on from where we left off last time though. So without further ado. Famous actress Anastasia Lewis and her fiancé Emmanuel Valdivida, also an actor, were rising stars, trendsetters, and everyone's favourite couple. They couldn't go anywhere nowadays without being followed by the paparazzi who tracked their every move to write about in the latest tabloid magazine. Everyone was so sure that they were happy, but behind closed doors, the real story was, sadly, rather different. For Anastasia had recently suffered a miscarriage, and the resulting emotional turmoil was tearing the two apart. Emmanuel wasn't particularly well versed in those sort of things, and had from the outset somehow blamed Anna, and she felt bad enough already without his unjustified rage being levelled at her for something she'd had no control over. It wasn't fair. Anastasia had dreamed her whole life of having a baby, and she had been through so much with her cheating ex-husband Anton, but when she'd met Emmanuel, she thought all that was over. They had been so happy once, just a few months ago, but now she found herself questioning all that and questioning him. Heartbreak and difficulty sadly weren't new to Anastasia. She'd already been through one divorce from her high school sweetheart Anton, who had been a serial cheater, and she'd weathered through that storm eventually. She knew she had the strength to do it, but she didn't want to. She loved Emmanuel so much, but he just didn't seem to understand. The only person in her life Anastasia had to talk to about her and Emmanuel's troubles was her photographer friend Phil. He'd been the only one other than Emmanuel she'd even told about her pregnancy, and he was so horrified and sympathetic, it made her cry. Phil had always been so sweet, and she knew that she could count on him. Photographer Philip Merchant had been in love with Anastasia from the moment he saw her posing behind his camera. She was enchanting, engaging, and ecstatically beautiful, with such a stunning smile. And oh, she was so talented. She truly had skill and determination, as well as life experience, and he could see why she was now so successful as an actress. Philip was not the kind to interfere with a happy relationship, or even what he was fast finding out was now evolving into an unhappy one. Anastasia was, first and foremost, his friend, and what she needed right now was support. He listened to her tale, hugged her gently, and suggested she give it time. Time for both her and Emmanuel to heal a little. In the meantime, she should do what she always did, and channel her emotions into her work. Anastasia's pain, confusion, and anger about her trauma and relationship troubles definitely helped her work as an actress. She was currently starring in a movie as a young, aspiring, idealist doctor working against the corrupt consumerist healthcare system. And although Anna's personal situation was very different, she was still able to use her job to work through a lot of things. It was, without a doubt, one of the strongest set of scenes Anastasia had ever achieved on one project. She followed her friend Phil's advice and channeled everything into her acting, becoming as passionately justified in her role as she felt unjustified with life at the minute. Her tears were real tears, and her smiles were almost real too. Anastasia kept her pain to herself though, at least publicly. She was a celebrity vlogger and shared a lot with her fans and audience, but miscarriages was such a sensitive subject. She didn't want to trigger anybody. It had happened though, and it had broken her heart like no man had ever done before. As far as her fans knew, Anastasia was happy and thriving with Emmanuel, planning their dream wedding together. She got comments about it all the time on her live streams, constant questions, and she found them hard to answer. She and Emmanuel hadn't really spoken much lately. They were both working so hard on their respective projects, and they were busy people. Things were awkward between the couple. Had it really only been a few weeks since their engagement? Photos were already plastered around the house, staring at them in mockery, reminding both Anastasia and Emmanuel of how things used to be. Could they ever get back to that place again? Anastasia decided to throw a dinner date for Emmanuel in an attempt to recapture the magic that had once flowed so naturally between them. Anna spent the whole day getting ready. Mud bath, deep tissue massage, face mask, fresh makeup look, and a brand new dress. It was all coming together, and she couldn't wait for Emmanuel to come home to see her like this. Maybe they could even have another baby. Emmanuel knew what Anastasia was doing, of course. She had warned him, made sure his assistant knew, and texted him to remind him that morning. That wasn't the issue. He just didn't want to go, didn't want to do this right now. He wasn't ready, he told himself. Anastasia was rushing him, wanting to try again already. That first one had been a mistake, hadn't it? Maybe that was a sign. Anastasia had spent the whole day preparing for this date. She'd prepped and plucked her body, dressed up, cooked a delicious meal, bought a bottle of expensive nectar, and lit both candles and incense. It had taken her 13 hours. 13 hours, all to ultimately eat alone with not even an apology text. It was devastating. Anastasia had thought she'd found her soulmate with Emmanuel, but the moment stuff got real and hard, he walked away. Less than a month ago, they'd been getting engaged, but was he really ready to be married to her if this was how he treated her? Anna didn't deserve to be alone. The candles burned low, and still Anastasia was alone. Where was he, her supposed fiancé? Probably out cheating on her, just like Anton had. They were all the same men. Well, maybe not all of them. Phil was a man, and he was her best friend. He'd understood. Why couldn't Emmanuel be like that? It was 2:08 a.m. when Emmanuel finally walked in the front door to find Anastasia drinking her umpteenth glass of nectar. She didn't know what to think or say, so she just had another sip. It was his turn to speak. his turn to try. Anastasia had done enough of everything lately to try to hold them together. He didn't even have a good excuse for himself. Rather than being honest and bearing himself bare and vulnerable, Emmanuel blustered something silly about losing track of time. He wasn't even trying. Anastasia had seen him perform better selling laundry powder, and yet she still didn't say anything until, finally, it burst out of her, rather quietly, but vehemently. Had he cheated on her tonight? It was at this very inopportune time that Emmanuel's phone went off, and, being a bit of a phone fanatic, he looked at it on autopilot, quickly getting sucked in for a second. Anastasia wasn't even surprised anymore. She'd been down this route before, and knew exactly what was going on. It was almost as if she'd manifested this. Anastasia walked away then, before Emmanuel could disengage with whomever he was messaging back and tell her more poorly constructed lies. What was the point? They'd flown too close to the sun far too quickly and been burnt. And now they were falling, about to crash and burn. It was over. And that brings us to the end of Chapter 10 of The Ascension of Anastasia. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can tune in soon to hear the next chapter. If you're a Sims player too and you'd like to download any of my characters to play for yourself, just search the hashtag Simsational Stories on the Sims 4 gallery. All original content is created by This Is Not Eric. And hey, maybe think about sharing my channel with a friend. Or don't. It's your life. Anyway, bye.